Welcome. Hello, everyone. My name is Chantal Freeman. I'm with the Office of Online Engagement, and I'm so excited to be with you all here today and take some time out and relax with the lovely drawings of Zentangle. So before I introduce tonight's speaker and turn the session over, I'm just going to review a few housekeeping items for the session. So as you probably have noticed, microphones and videos for participants have been turned off just to minimize any background noise. You'll notice at the bottom of your screen there is a Q&A pod, and it will be present throughout the presentation should you have any questions as we go through. And the presentation and the QA portion of this will be recorded and is currently being recorded. So there's no obligation to speak or ask questions in the Q&A or have any participation in the session other than maybe doing your Zentangle on the side. So let's go ahead. I want to go ahead and start with reading and sharing our online accessibility statement with you all, which just serves as a reminder to the wonderful resources available for students. So your experience here at Southern New Hampshire University is important to us. It is our policy and practice to create an inclusive and accessible student experience. If there are aspects of your experience that present barriers to accessibility, please notify the Online Accessibility Center, or the OAC, as soon as possible at 866-305-9430. And you can also email them at oac@snhu.edu or visit the Online Accessibility Center website. So you can please reach out at least a week in advance for event accommodations. All right, so now I would like to introduce to you your amazing Zentangle tour guide for the evening, Christine Keenan. Christine works in our innovation lab in the Makerspace on SNHU's Manchester campus, which you actually see right there in that picture. So Christine, the floor is yours.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to come today. I'm really excited to share and connect with our online community. I don't often get that opportunity. So I do invite you to follow the Makerspace on our Instagram channel if you wanted to find out more about what we do there. That's at snhu.makerspace on Instagram. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about Zentangle, what our project is going to be, what Zentangle is and what it isn't. So it's more of a meditative drawing method. So on campus during finals week or other stressful times, typically offered this in little workshops such as this, just to, a little stress buster. And so it's a meditative drawing, and oftentimes gets confused with doodling, because you'll see that it's a lot of structured patterns. The structured patterns aren't new. People have been scratching on caves, for a pretty long time. But what is different is when we start getting to the drawing, I'm going to remind you, just to be mindful of the grip on your pen and your breath, and it's an object to focus on to help you relax. And the bonus is that you end up with a really cool piece of art. But I don't want anybody to stress out about it, because, it's a piece of paper. This is the first time you're doing it. And whatever I'm going to share with you, you can do it again. So I'm going to flip my camera here and show you a couple of examples so you know exactly what it is. So typical Zentangle, or traditional, is more done on a single small tile. So they're usually smaller projects that can be done in a short amount of time. You can see it's sectioned off, and you would just put patterns in different section spaces. So when I divide it, we call that a string. If you can imagine a piece of thread or a yarn that was just dropped on that paper and randomly divided that tile and then filled those squares in. So anything that's not a plain square, we call Zentangle inspired art. So that's pretty much what we're going to do today. This is the project that we're going to be focusing on, just a little holiday inspired project. And think about, if you want to put a word there, or Merry Christmas, or someone's name, or you can choose to just add another pattern in there if you're not comfortable doing any kind of lettering. But I just wanted to give you, a little idea of some other directions that Zentangle can sometimes go. Like I said, if you go on the Instagram channel, I did put a quick little video just to show you how to do this little guy. It's just a fun little thing to do. Sometimes you can add a little color, and imagine if you finish your project, you can start collecting these and have your own little coloring book. But you can also have theme related ones. This was something was done for the SOTI group, and we used some markers in there, but these would be some traditional patterns, Zentangle patterns that you might see. There's a lot of different groups on Facebook and out there if you were interested to learn more. There's a whole little terminology. So I'll explain those as we go. But to start, we're just going to move all these to the side, and I'm going to have you bring your paper. And you know what? It's totally fine if you just wanted to watch today too, because this is being recorded. You can come back to it when you have a quiet moment and want to give it a shot. So I've chose to do it on a diagonal. You can, because I think it let my ornament be a little bit bigger. There's going to be people out there that need to have a perfect circle, but don't worry about it. If you want to trace something to get a perfect circle, by all means, you do that. But creating art, you want to not be afraid to let the hand of the artist be, be visible. And it's not perfect. Otherwise, it would be digital or it'd be a photograph. So it's not perfect. But I'm going to look at this and call this the top of my ornament here, and maybe put a small little cap on there where you would normally hang the ornament, and we'll put that little loop. Now I'm going to look where a little bit above where the circle is, so or the center. And I'm just going to do a soft arc. And then I'm going to do another one, because oftentimes you want to think about doing things in a way that are comfortable for your hand. So you'll notice that I'm going to rotate the tile. We call these tiles quite often, because again, it just adds to the relaxation of it. I'm going to put another line just because it's easier to do that now. And then I'm going to go above that, maybe a ½ inch, and I'm going to put a couple more lines. Now I'm going to turn it, and I'll start in the center and draw a line. I'm going to put a couple more. I'm just looking to create a grid pattern. We're going to be filling that in. Okay, so you got your grid here. And I want you to, now as you get into it, put your feet flat on the floor and, just think about where you're at. And, the difference between a mindful activity and a mindless activity is if you're listening to somebody talk and you're doodling on the side of your paper, your focus is on the speaker. But right now, we want to just focus on what we're doing here. So when I ask you to make these little rice shapes along the edge of each of these grids, our instinct is to get it done, because we've been getting things done all day, and you want to do it fast, but slow it down. This is a mindful way to tie into focusing on what you're doing. You're not doing it with and sitting in front of the TV. You're just thinking about drawing these little shapes. And you're breathing in, being aware of your breath. And you can choose to do the ones on the side or not. It's your ornament. I kind of like it a little rounder. You'll see I'm going to turn it. Sometimes when I'm learning a new pattern, I will sometimes just watch because it's oddly relaxing also. So now I'm going to turn the tile this way, and I'm going to do the same thing on the lines going the opposite direction. I want to think about dropping your shoulders. That's the hard part about being virtual. Is I would typically walk around and see everybody's shoulders up around their ears, you know, because we really tend to get hyper focused on things. But I want you to just try to focus on being relaxed doing it. And when you do the same activity on your own in a quiet space or have some music on, all of a sudden the windows in your mind just start closing. So now that we've done that on each square, we're going to go and we're going to what in Zentangle world is called an aura. An aura is just repeating the shape that we just did. So I'm starting in those corners and I'm tucking them in and just repeating that. And this is a part when it starts getting relaxing because I'm not thinking about where I'm going to go next. I'm just following what's already there. And I'm breathing because breathing is really good. But you want to, think about not holding your breath. We've been holding our breath all year. So now it's just a moment to relax. And just keep turning your tile because everybody has a way that they prefer to hold their pen, and you'll find when I push away this way, that's less comfortable for me. So I usually prefer to pull towards myself. You'll find your way. Okay. And you'll find that some of these spaces are closing up, and that's what we're looking to do. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to do another round as these get a little tighter. And don't fuss over it. You have to look at the whole picture at the end. We're not striving for perfection. We are looking to relax, and this is a byproduct of it. So now I'm kind of looking to see where else I can fit in some more. And these look really cool and get so dimensional when we do a little shading at the end. So there. This is your first tangle. So the name of this tangle is called bales. You'll find if you look online that all the tangles typically have a name. It doesn't matter what they're called. The only reason that you would care is if you were looking for what we call step outs, or the simple steps to learn how to make a pattern. So in that case, this one is bales. So I'm going to leave a little space here to add a word. So I'm going to think about mimicking that same arc that we did earlier. Give myself some space. I might give another line because we might do something in here. Good to have options. Okay. So now I'm going to spin this around. The next tangle that we're going to do is called crescent. So it'll be obvious. Crescent looks like a crescent moon. So they're almost like the size of a ladybug. We're just going to space them out. Now mine are probably about the size of ladybug or fingernail, little tip there. And it doesn't matter if you get to the end. We're gonna also fill this space up. So I like to color these in. And again, this is the time, our tendency is to go, color it in really fast because we're getting it done. But if you think about this is a special time for yourself, a little luxury, quiet time, you'll focus on it a little different. Again, don't think focus is looking for perfection. It's just slowing down. Okay. It's our first row of crescent. So now we're going to aura or repeat the shape of these. And again, just easy. And eventually you'll have some that get a little wonky. It's all good. Remember, this is just a piece of paper. You've got plenty of paper. And we're just going to keep repeating that till we eventually fill this space. So again, I encourage you to turn your tile and find the way that's easiest for you to draw. And you'll see that eventually they start getting very close. Doesn't matter. We're gonna keep tucking right down into those little crevices. So I'm going to start here and get in the crevice. It doesn't matter if your auras are different sizes. It's always interesting because everybody follows the same directions and they will look similar yet different. So embrace the difference. There's a lot of life metaphors when we think of Zentangle. So you'll notice that there's no eraser because one of the taglines is there's no mistakes. Like in life, you have to just keep going. That's why we're doing this in pen. If you did it in pencil, people would be erasing all day. And you can't keep going back. You gotta just learn to just move forward and embrace what you've got. You'll see they're all different heights. It doesn't matter because we're going to be filling up the entire space. Okay, so now I'm thinking about where I want to go. This one getting a little crazy there, so I think we'll just focus on these, bring them up a little bit. Okay. So crescent moon, or crescent, it's crescent. So you can think about what word you want to put in here, and don't stress it. Write it. I'm gonna just write peace, because peace is good. Could all use a little peace. But you might want to put somebody's name in there. This could be a little card. You could photocopy it, and these could be your Christmas tags. So oftentimes I like to, after I've blocked the letters out, I like thickening them up a little bit, just giving them a little weight. Put like a little triangle there to. So Zentangle, it is a, it's been around for a while, but it's really started taking off as people are just finding different things to apply it to. It's being used with veterans, with PTSDs, and school children. Everybody has different applications. I call it like yoga for the brain. So if you think of it in that way, then it's more of a gift of time for yourself. So get there. So now I have two other little areas that I can do something with. I'm kind of thinking just add some little lines here. And again, you want to think about just being slow and deliberate, watching your breathing. Check in to see how, if you have a death grip on your pen. Sometimes, we find that stress in different parts of our body. Everybody's a little bit different. So we have a little dark here. So you might want to put little circles or dots in all of these squares. I think I am going to put dots in the bottom one, because that looks kind of nice. And these, I think I'm going to go for a checkerboard color every other one, just to mix it up a little. Here in New Hampshire, we had a huge snowstorm today. So being inside and warm and having electricity and relaxing, it's perfect. So traditional Zentangle tile is usually a 3.5 inch tile, which is slightly larger than a post-it note. So it's something that you can easily do in the space of a short break during your day. If you just need to clear your head and help yourself relax. So go. So we're going to put the pen down and pick up your pencil. This is where the magic happens when we start shading. Now, when I did this on camera before, it was really wasn't as easy for you to see it, but I think you're going to be amazed when you do it. So if you were classically trained with shading, it's very complicated, but just there's no up or down to this. So you're just going to think about putting the darker areas in places that are farther away. So in this case, these are like the little valleys. So we're just going to put some graphite down in the valleys and a little bit on the edge here. We're going to shade it in a bit, but for right now, just be real generous with putting graphite down. Doesn't have to be neat. We're not coloring it in. We're going to be blending it out. So the more you have dark, as long as you leave the center part white, it'll give it a really cool dimensionality. It's kind of neat. So now I'm just going to go around the whole edge of this sphere, because if you look at, if you put a flashlight on a sphere, you'll notice the edges are always darker because the light's not hitting them. And I'm going to do that around the whole ornament. Okay, and we're going to put some graphite. See where all these little cross sections are? Let's see if I can get a little closer. Oops. Oh, I guess that's as close as it's going to get. So the darkest spot is going to be where they all intersect. Because you think of a tufted stool, you know, when the button is in the center. That's usually the darkest part. So you just find all those little dark spots. And so this is a blending stump or a tortillon. All it is really just a very tightly wound piece of paper with a nice point so I can get in there. But if you don't have one, you can just use a Q-tip to do the same thing I'm doing. So now everywhere I put the graphite, I'm just kind of relaxing and doing little circles, and I'm leaving the center portion white. And you'll see it'll just start all of a sudden come to life. So if there's interest to do this beyond this evening, like I said, jump onto the Instagram. I know you're going to get a survey tomorrow, but if you follow us on Instagram, SNHU.makerspace, I'm going to put a couple of just quick videos, just sharing some other little patterns, just something to have some fun with, and we'll use that kind of as a judge to see if there's interest to do more of this down the road. Even virtually, it is fun. I have a couple of groups that we do this once a week. Maybe we have no life, I don't know, but you know, it's a very nice relaxing thing to do, just to have less Zoom fatigue, where we're all together doing an activity but not necessarily staring into the screen. So it's kind of like a hybrid. little tech connection, but having your hands busy. So again, I'm just spreading these out. You can see, I'll show you Q-tips. Kind of do the same thing. And if you don't have a Q-tip today, go on and use one. Find something, you can roll a piece of paper and bend it in half and just get a nice little point, and you can do the same thing. But you see the Q-tips work pretty good. Just kind of soften things up. And taking a look. I'm going to put a little hanger up there. And when you finish making something, you always want to put, we call it a chop, because it's a small piece of paper. But find some clever ways to put your initials in there, and just on the side. Remember when you did it today. And that is a basic Zentangle ornament. Has anybody had any questions for us, Chantal?
I don't think so. I think everybody is fully enthralled in their Zentangles and feeling very zen.
Well, yay. And you can always have the option, if you had a bigger piece of paper because nobody knew what size, you can do a group. You can have a lot of ornaments. I can show you some of the simple patterns so you know what to look for. If you go online, I might just show you a single patterns like this. And some of them look really complex, but they're all just as, oh, that was a weird sound. They're all just as simple as everything I showed you. So, like I said, we call them step outs. It's easy, so anyone can do it. The tagline is, anything's possible, one stroke at a time. So you think about, you have here your ornament. If you had some gel pens that you wanted to just jazz it up a little bit, it's kind of fun. I like just adding just a tiny bit of color, completely changes it. There's a gold there.
We actually have some questions coming in.
Okay.
So Britt asks, so there's some Zentangle books online. Do you think that they're worth it at all?
I think there's enough online free, in all honesty, and I probably would direct you to either Zentangle.com. They've got a lot of information, and right now they are doing what's called the 12 Days of Christmas. So if you go on YouTube, every year for probably the last 10 years, they do videos for 12 days that are some really cool projects. And those are done by Maria Thomas and Rick Roberts, who were the founders of Zentangle. Really interesting people. But they do a really nice job, and their projects are really unique. Another place I would try is tanglepatterns.com. It's a curated collection of just thousands of patterns. And I guarantee you, all of them are just as easy as what we did today. The whole point is that the method is just that everything had to be broken down in such a way that anybody can do it. So I would get the book if it inspires you, but you don't really need it to learn.
Great advice.
Great question, though.
And we are also asked, what is the Instagram that you mentioned that you are putting things on?
SNHU dot makerspace.
Perfect. So that you can find some more videos there.
First one went up today.
Woohoo!
And if there's interest and people like it or watch it, then I'll put others up. So I'm play on demand.
Fantastic. And we have a lot of thank yous and that this was fantastic. Someone had also mentioned that you have a great calm female Bob Ross voice, which is, I think, the highest compliment that you could possibly get. So
That's really awesome.
and then someone asks also, do you consider mandalas as Zentangle?
Um, well, same type of idea, because it's the patterns are repetitive. So I can show you, like this would be an example of when it's just circular. So the string, what we call a string, how you divide up the shell that you're going to put designs in. If you started with a circle and you added designs, and there's your mandala. That's actually something that we could also do. That's a lot of fun, and we could do that as a multi-step project, where I could just show people how to do the beginning of their ring, and then they can do it on their own afterwards. So you can make some really, really cool designs. I think the hardest part is sometimes just deciding what you want to put in it. So if I'm going to make a project, sometimes I'll put the designs in there, so then I don't have to think about it. Then I'm just doing it. And it is very relaxing. But that would also be another great idea for a class. So Zentangle, if you wanted to look for circle things, they do have some circles. They call them, they're a branded thing, but they call them Zendalas. So if you want to search online for designs that were circular, you could also search under Zendala.
Fabulous. Zendalas. I see the cleverness there. If someone doesn't have Instagram, is there a way that they can connect with you?
They sure can. So my SNHU address is c.keenan, KEENAN 1 at snhu.edu. And I'm happy to do, anything one-on-one. Just shoot me an email, and if you belong to a club and you want to do something, just let me know.
Fabulous. And then a couple other questions here. What kind of pen did you use or recommend?
Great question. So I'll tell you what, the majority of the people, they swear by these Micron pens. I have them, but I think the tips wear out really fast. If you can find, so there's a difference, actually, let me show you the difference of the tips. And that's the tricky thing. Okay. So these are, can you see it? This is a plastic tip. The plastic tips work better. So if you look for a Micron pen that says PN, PN just means plastic nib. Those will work better than these type. Where is it? Can you see? So if you see the difference. But use what you are comfortable with. Try buying a few different ones. And like if you're doing something that has a lot of inking, I'm going to switch pens. I'm going to use more of a brush pen to fill those in. I certainly wouldn't use those little skinny pens to fill something like this. So I have also some Faber-Castell pens that I use. But my current favorite that I'm in love with is this one called a carbon ink pen. It's not an expensive pen by any means, but it lasts forever, and it has the best tip. So it is a fountain pen, but you don't have to. It doesn't dip or anything like that. The ink is waterproof. You can get really nice fine lines, and that's my current favorite.
So many options. So many
Yes,
options.
yes. Treat yourself to a pack of pens.
Right.
Good ideas for Christmas.
Yes, and actually some people have shared that they have put these on cardstock and are going to turn them into holiday cards, which is fantastic.
Nice, nice. Hey, I don't know if there's a way, can they send you a picture? Because oftentimes we would have, with the screen, we'd have everybody do a screenshot where we could see everybody holding them up, but we can't do that.
It's
Or,
true. Couple of options. So people
okay.
can share them with you. You know, just go ahead and email, or if anybody is in the community in SNHU Connect, we do share these events in the SNHU event space, which we would love for people to share theirs and tangles if they are so inclined. Don't,
Yeah.
no pressure.
If you send it to my email address, I will post it on Instagram. So
Love it.
love to see online represented.
Yes, absolutely. Just scrolling through here, there's a couple more questions. Oh, you mentioned a group that you're a part of. Is that your group, and are you accepting new people to that group?
I have lots of groups. They're just more personal, but I am interested to start a group at SNHU. So it's just really about having a group that's interested. I think it would be a cool thing to do like mindful moments. You know, if people let me know when would be better time slots, I wouldn't mind holding something like in a Instagram live or doing something on a regular basis that just shared a couple of patterns each week. And like I talked about, just doing it together. It is fun. It's a gift to yourself. The times that I do that, sometimes you just say, oh, you know what? Okay, it's it's my quiet time. So think of it as a gift.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm seeing a lot of people have shared that they feel more relaxed. We have someone that's actually in the hospital that is feeling less anxiety, and pain is even better. So appreciate you for bringing this to us.
That
Um,
is amazing.
yes, and
Awesome.
a couple of other questions here. Someone asked about charcoal. So is could you do a Zentangle with charcoal instead of pencil?
Oh, for the shading, uh, sure, use whatever you want. The only thing with charcoal is you would probably want to seal it afterwards because it would continue to smear. But you don't even have to get fancy stuff to seal it. If you have hairspray, hit it with some hairspray, and that will, from a distance, and that will help.
Using what you have, right?
Yep.
Love it. Someone did ask about the recording, and the recording will be available. We'll make sure we have that available to you after this event, so you will be able to join in if you missed anything. And someone
Perfect.
also asked, what is your favorite pattern?
My favorite one right now, because it's called Enzeppel, because it's so random. So you just draw random lines through whatever shape you have, and then you're rounding every corner in it. So it almost looks like, it reminds me of, not so much this one, but if you really round them, they look like river rocks. And I sometimes like just filling them in with, making a word fit in some of those spots. And I like creating art that has hidden messages for people. And so sometimes I might make patterns, but I'll put a couple of words in there and make it special for that person. The other one I like things that look complicated, but they're not. That one's kind of a fun one.
Yeah, very fancy.
Yeah,
Love it.
but all simple. So,
Perfect. Well, we have just about 1 minute left, and we have a lot of thank yous, and I echo everyone. Thank you, everyone, for spending your night with us. If you did
yes.
have another question, by all means, you can reach out to Christine. She mentioned her email at c.keenan1@snhu.edu. And then there's the Instagram as well, and then we have our SNHU Connect page. We'd love to see you all join in there in the community as well. So thank you. Again, we will be sending out a survey. We would love to hear your thoughts. We would love to offer these again if you're interested. I know Christine and I are eager to do these again, but we obviously want to make sure you all want to do them as well. But thank you to Media Services as well for supporting our event, and for the lovely Christine tour guide. I feel very relaxed, and I think I can speak on the behalf of everyone.
And
So
thank you. Thank you for putting this all together. This is great.
Absolutely. Well, I hope everyone had a great time, and we will see everyone at the next event. I hope everyone has a great rest of your night.
As well. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.